Connect your little ones to their Latino greatness with Canticos. Their bilingual learning app, books and toys teach kids phonics, math, and even emotional intelligence in English and Spanish. Visit canticosworld.com/Latina to try Canticos and start their bilingual journey. Watch out, world. The almost 9 million people who follow Camila Coelho on Instagram know all about her impeccable style and flawless makeup. What they might not know is how much of her ethos is tied to her story of immigrating from Brazil to Pennsylvania and choosing to stand out rather than fit in. When we talked, I also learned just how much of Camila's hustle comes from a promise she made to her mother years ago. You've said you were raised fearless. What did that look like?
I was raised in a very small town of Brazil, a town of like 15,000 people in a countryside. I had very limited access to the world in general. But the good thing about growing up in such a small town was that I was so free. I could just get out of the house, play with my friends. Yeah, I was just such a free child. Today, I am so grateful looking back that I grew up in such a small town and that I didn't have any fears. My mom would just let us go out and do our thing and come back home later on. And she wasn't worried. I wasn't worried of something happening to me because, that's like growing up in a small town looks like in Brazil. And being so connected with nature and all of it, that's what made me so happy, free, and fearless. So yeah.
And then you moved to Scranton, Pennsylvania, which is quite the twist in this story.
I know.
What do you most remember about that move?
First, before we moved, we went to visit. And I loved it. I didn't go to just Pennsylvania. Of course, I went to New York, where my dad was. My parents were divorced at the time. And I remember just exploring this country. And I was so in love with it. I wanted to learn the language. I wanted to go to school in the United States. I wanted it. And I remember when we finally moved, I was very excited. I was excited, but I was also scared. Especially my first days in high school, I felt very different from everyone. I was scared that I wasn't going to have friends, but I was excited, but I was also scared. And I remember my first friends were Latinos. And later on, of course, I made more friends with my American friends were amazing as well. But, I always had a stronger connection with my Latino friends. It's just in our culture, we're more warm. So that move was scary, but also exciting at the same time.
You all know I did not grow up speaking Spanish. My husband did. And it's really important to us that our girls have exposure to the language. When I interviewed Susie Jaramillo, the creator of Canticos, she gifted me a book for my girls, and they love it. We read it all the time. And now the older one is using their bilingual learning app. They use the same nursery rhymes from our childhood, think burrito sabanero, elefantitos, and arroz con leche, to teach kids concepts like phonics, letters, math, and emotional intelligence through song and play. The games and the songs alternate between English and Spanish, so it's super easy to learn the languages. Plus, the characters are adorable. Pollitos, elefantitos, we can't get enough. I want to squeeze their little cheeks. They've also got beautiful books, games, and toys that just bring the lessons and fun from the app full circle. If you want to learn more about bringing language and culture to life for your little one, visit canticosworld.com/Latina. That's canticosworld.com/Latina. Start their bilingual journey today and watch their Latino greatness shine. You are a self-described nerd. It was pretty surprising to people when you chose not to go to college. What went into that decision?
It's funny that you say the word nerd because my teachers especially my math teacher in high school. He would call me a nerd. I was in love with math. And I actually was an honor roll student in high school throughout the 4 years. And my mom was so sure that I was going to go to college and be like the best student out of all of my three siblings. I think she saw me as like the highest chance of being like the greatest student. But when it came time for me to apply for college, I remember thinking about it so much. I did not know exactly what I wanted to do. And because I also knew that my mom will probably help me go to college as well, gave me even more pressure. I did not want to choose the wrong thing. I did not want to pay for college, study for something, and not love what I was doing at the end. I did not know what I wanted, and I was sure that I didn't know. But I didn't want to make the decision. Like, I was just so scared. And I remember I just pulled my mom aside and I was like, Mom, I knew she was going to be so mad and devastated. But I said, Mom, I don't know what I want to do. And I just need some time. I need at least like 6 months to figure things out. I want to move out of here, out of Scranton. I don't know what I want to do and I need to figure it out. Like, and she was like, Camila, no, you need to go to college right away. Your grades are amazing. Like, you have to go to college. And I feel like it was also a fear of hers, like she didn't want me to end up like her, depending on someone. Or my mom did not go to college. She was a housewife. I understood her fear, but in my heart, I knew I needed to wait. I know for like an 18-year-old girl, it was a huge decision, but I followed my heart. And I remember telling my mom, I promise you that I will make you proud. And I looked her in the eye and said that, and I still get chills saying this to you because that stayed with me for so long. There was a need and desire to make my mom proud. And like after I left home. So it was when I left home that I got a job. I moved to Boston. I had an aunt in Boston. So I lived with her for a couple months and I wanted to get like my own apartment. So I just got a job somewhere. My aunt helped me out and the job was at a department store, working at a makeup counter, selling makeup. The counter was Christian Dior. And I remember I hated the retail hours. It was terrible. Working on weekends and all of that. But one thing I loved about that job was the fact that first, I was working with beauty, and I've always loved beauty since I was a little kid. But second, that I was in a way like transforming or affecting people's like self-esteem. People from different backgrounds with different needs and different moods would arrive at the counter every single day. And after me selling them a product or putting something on them, like 95% of these women will leave with a smile on their faces. And that would make my day. That was what, at the end, made me realize how transformative, empowering beauty is. And that experience was what made me want to become a makeup artist.
We asked our producer, Paulina, to try out the new Summit Intarsia sweater from Faherty. She is the youngest and the hippest among us. Her response? It is the most delicious, softest sweater. The whole Faherty collection gives me watching the sunset on the beach vibes. Wearing Faherty pieces feels like the coziest you have ever been outdoors, telling stories around a bonfire, taking a long walk hand in hand on a moonlit night, or looking up at the stars on the porch. And that is by design. I want to invite you to use the code Latina to Latina for 25% off your purchase on FahertyBrand.com. That's Latina to Latina for 25% off at FahertyBrand.com. We've even got a special page for our listeners, FahertyBrand.com/Latina to Latina. That's FAHERTY brand.com/Latina to Latina, which automatically gets you a 25% discount. Happy shopping.
So After that job, I became a makeup artist. When I told my mom I'm a makeup artist, she was happy about it, but I knew she was probably like, oh, maybe you could have done something better if you went to college. But then, I found social media. I found YouTube, and I did my first video as a hobby. And this was 10 years ago.
I was about to say, the timing of it is important, because now it doesn't seem that novel, but 10 years ago, people were not approaching it as a business.
No. 10 years ago, YouTube was just used as, a platform for you to watch music videos on. And I remember when I actually went on YouTube this day to watch a music video, and I found this video of Candy Johnson, which she still does her videos today. She's from California. This girl had a full-on tutorial on YouTube. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is incredible. And in my mind at that moment, all I could think about was doing a video to help out my friends and family, like my sister, who always asked me for a 101 to teach them how to do their makeup. So it took me a few weeks, and I finally uploaded my first video. The lighting was so yellow. I had no idea what I was doing, but I uploaded my video. And surprisingly, I started getting great feedback from my friends in Brazil. I just shared this in my personal Facebook at the time, Twitter, and it was just my personal friends in there, but people liked it, and I started getting engagement, and surprisingly, slowly it became something. It became my career. I'd never expected in my life that putting videos on YouTube back then, 10 years ago, was going to end up bringing me to where I am today.
What's also apparent about you, though, is that you have a lot of hustle and are very savvy, because once you started seeing the viewership on YouTube, you quickly expanded to blogging. And there you saw sort of immediate growth as well, which also broadened it out from beauty to style, which is a much larger space to fill than just doing makeup tutorials.
I give those credits to my husband as well, because I remember when I did my first videos, he was like, oh, this is cool. Internet, Camila, internet is the future. And I remember him telling me this. Just so
you know, the Gen Zers are listening to the two of us dying.
Oh, exactly. But when he told me that, I was like, come on, future, internet. And and he was the one that said, keep doing it. It's going to be great. It's a hobby, I know, but it could be something great. And I remember the things he used to tell me, I would never believe him, and it will all happen. I remember when I opened up my blog, people started asking me for more content. And when you're doing video, it gets limited, right? And if I wrote a blog, I could share content every single day, every type of content, including fashion, which I've always loved. And the first 12 days of my blog, I got more than 150,000 unique visitors. And that was a crazy number. And Icaro, my husband, was like, see, this is going to be great. Keep doing it.
What was it that you were doing that was resonating with them? Because those are wild numbers.
It was mostly the how-to videos, how to do an eyeliner. Today, you find all of these, if I do a how-to eyeliner today, it's not even going to get a view because there's so much content out there. But back then, you have to think there was nothing. Imagine the amount of girls who did not know how to do their makeup. And then they could go to YouTube and find how to do your eyebrows, how to do your cat eye, how to do a smoky eye, how to do a red lip perfectly, how to do contour, highlight. So all of these things were the ones that really got the most engagement. When I was sharing about fashion as well, it was my look of the day. It was very personal, the fashion style side of it in the beginning. But the most attention was brought from the beauty tutorials, the how-tos. At the end, I built such a strong relationship with this following that they had me as a friend who were there every week to teach them something. And I've always been so close with my following, and I've always took some time to listen to them. What did they want me to bring? What did they want me to show them? So that was very important on my growth as well, to listen to them. And I still do until this day. It's such an important part of it.
Latina to Latina is brought to you by First Republic Bank. As your focus turns to what matters most to you and your community, First Republic remains committed to offering personalized financial solutions that fit your needs. From day one, a dedicated banker will be there to listen to you and understand your unique values and goals. Because now more than ever, what matters to you matters most. Learn more at firstrepublic.com. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
The most immediate way in which you monetize these followings is to do work with brands. And you, of course, had brands reaching out sort of immediately. How were you assessing? How do you assess who to work with and who not to work with?
Oh, it's, in the beginning, it was really hard. I remember when one of the first brands sent me a box of product and I was so excited. I was like, oh my gosh, I am doing this as a hobby. I love it. And I'm getting free product. Little did I know I was actually going to get paid to do, certain things. But since the beginning, it was very important for me to keep my following's trust. I remember when brands started reaching out and I told myself, I will not advertise any product if I don't love it. So there was always a rule for me before saying yes to a brand or to a product or to advertising something, I need to try it first. And if I already tried that product and I don't love it, I'm going to say no. So since the beginning, when I was still very small, I said no's. And those no's were very important as a long term for my career because, you need to stay true to yourself and your followers will know if you advertise something that you don't believe in, it's automatically going to come out not so organic. I still say a lot of no's. I'm okay with those no's because if I say yes to everything and if I don't stay true to me, it's going to get to a time that it's all going to end and I'm going to lose my followers' trust, which is the most, important thing that I have. So yeah, no's are very important. And it has always been.
You're also operating next level now. I mean, you have partnerships with beauty brands, a fashion line that bears your name, and now your beauty and cosmetics line, your new launch, Elaluz. What is your vision for the brand?
My vision for the brand, my fashion label came first, which was such a big dream coming true. I wanted a brand that kind of like translated my style. Why we chose Revolve, right? It was like my main goal was to have this available online all over the world. So we chose Revolve as a partner because I've had a relationship with them for so many years. I know the people behind the brand and I knew it was going to be accessible for everyone all around the world. My goal with Camila Coelho Collection, for example, at first was to see everyone from every background, everywhere in the world wearing my brand, wearing this clothes and representing CCC. And with Elaluz is the same. Like my goal is to see this brand grow and evolve. Like we aim to be perfect and to deliver amazing quality. So my biggest decision with my beauty brand Elaluz was for it to be clean. Could I do that? And I doubted myself. I was like, can I make a brand that has quality, but has clean ingredients and meets the highest standards for clean? I know a lot of brands use the word clean today, but being clean for me, it's from everything, like ingredients to packaging and being sustainable. And I gave myself that challenge. Like Elaluz was supposed to be launched much sooner. But when you're clean, you have so much limits. There's so many limits to everything, to ingredients, to formulas, to packaging. And I gave myself that challenge. I wanted to prove to my own self that I could create a clean brand because also I think it is the future. We need more products out there that are good for you, good for your skin. My goal with Elaluz is to represent women all around the world. The messaging with this brand it's all about light. It's about, the name Elaluz was inspired by the warmth and the confidence that comes from everyone's individual inner light. It has to do also with my light story. I want people to grab the product and think about how special their inner light is. But my goal is for us to grow and to evolve and to learn through the years. And I see a beautiful future for both of these brands because I'm 100% involved in every single detail of both brands. And, I always say when there's love and there's passion, when there's hard work, things come out great. So I hope the future of these brands is a beautiful future.
Is there something that's getting in the way of your happiness or that's preventing you from achieving your goals? I have found in my own life that talking with someone can make a big difference, but sometimes the logistics, finding the right person, the time to connect, makes things complicated. BetterHelp Online Counseling connects you with a professional counselor in a safe and private online environment. You can get help on your own time and at your own pace. You can schedule secure video or phone sessions, plus chat and text with your therapist. BetterHelp's licensed professional counselors specialize in everything from depression to relationships to self-esteem. In fact, so many people have been using BetterHelp that they're recruiting additional counselors in all 50 states. Best of all, it's an affordable option. Latina to Latina listeners get 10% off your first month with the discount code LATINA. So why not join 1 million people who are taking charge of their mental health? Go to betterhelp.com/Latina. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/Latina. You were diagnosed with epilepsy when you were 9, and your mom suggested that you not share the diagnosis. Why?
Yeah. There's still a huge stigma out there about epilepsy. And this is something I've been working on to, using my platform to try to end this stigma and to educate people in society on what epilepsy really is. 1 out of 26 people get diagnosed with epilepsy in the world. So it's a lot of us, and you don't hear anyone talking about it. 20 something years ago, this was when I was 9, this stigma was even worse. My mom telling me not to share with anyone was a way to protect me from being bullied or from being looked at differently, because she knew my type of epilepsy was controlled and that I was going to get to live a normal life. She felt like, I didn't need to share. A lot of people with epilepsy, 1 out of those 26 people, they get to live a normal life, but a lot of them don't. But those who do get to live a normal life like me, today, my mom thinks differently. She thinks, I maybe could have, if I had more experience myself, I should have told you to actually talk about it, because she also didn't realize that keeping it in was probably going to affect me, which it did. When I was 17, I had a really dark time accepting myself. And even though only my family knew, I had limits, right? I couldn't drink alcohol. I had to sleep well, 8 hours a night, because all of those things triggers the seizures. So today my mom thinks differently, but back then it was a way to protect me. That the one advice I always give to people, to moms out there, say the word epilepsy. Talk to your children about it in a normal way. Like, encourage them to talk about it, talk about their condition, because it's only going to make them stronger. Today, I can fully talk about my whole epilepsy story in every detail and not get emotional, because I became stronger after speaking about it. Speaking about it, not just epilepsy, but any problems you have, anything you're dealing with, will only make you stronger.
After sharing so much good news, so much glamour, what has been the lesson of sharing a challenge like this?
The lesson is there's no such thing as a perfect life. There's no such thing as perfection. Today with social media, we see everyone's filtered lives, right? Out there on Instagram, on Facebook, we're only sharing most of, the great moments about our lives. And it's a big issue because, especially with the new generation, there's so many teenage kids who are going through depression because they feel like they're less fortunate than others and everyone's lives are perfect and theirs is not. And so those with a voice, with a big platform, it is important for us to talk about our vulnerabilities, about our challenges and about our struggles. So for me, that is the biggest lesson. Like, I've accomplished so much throughout the years. I've accomplished much more than I ever dreamed of. Coming from such a small town, I never thought in my life that I could be half the way where I am today. I feel like I've accomplished everything. I mean, now I have a very personal accomplishment goal, which is to be a mom. But, I'm sure I have faith that it will happen at the right time. My biggest lesson is like, there's no such thing as perfection. Everyone in this life will have a different challenge, will have a different struggle, and you are not alone. Whatever you're going through, there's somebody going through the same or worse or less worse, but we're always going through something. And going through challenges is what makes us grow. It's what makes us learn, and it's what makes us better.
Camila, thank you so much for your time. Appreciate you.
Thank you. It was great talking to you.
Thanks for joining us. Latina to Latina is executive produced and owned by Juleka Lantigua Williams and me, Alicia Menendez. Virginia Lora is our managing producer. Cedric Wilson is our producer. Carolina Rodriguez mixed this episode. Manuela Bedoya is our social media editor. We love hearing from you. Email us at hola@latinatolatina.com. And remember to subscribe or follow us on Radio Public, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, wherever you are listening. And please leave a review. It is one of the fastest, easiest ways to help us grow as a community.